Historical, ecological and managerial characteristics of fire regimes in New South Wales, Australia compared to California, United States of America. Why is this an interesting topic? In 2015, 71 Australian and New Zealander firefighters flew to the United States to battle 76 fires burning across the country, 14 of which were occurring in the state of California. This international collaboration has existed since the year 2000, such that 67 firefighters in 2007 and 73 firefighters in 2009 were sent from the United States to Australia. Why does this international collaboration exist? Are there similarities in fire regime history, ecology, and management practice? According to HEAD 2000, Southeast Australia and California are the most fire-prone places in the world due to the long hot summers of low humidity, abundance of flammable vegetation, and strong regional winds. This is what a bushfire in New South Wales looks like. And this is a wildfire in California. New South Wales. Prior to human settlement in Australia 40,000 years ago, lightning was a natural ignition source of fires in the landscape. A new ignition source appeared when the arrivals of the Aboriginals who used fire to shape the landscape, using it for hunting and driving animals such as kangaroos, signals, and to increase productivity of vegetation. The practice of regular burning changed the forests into open woodlands and grasslands, creating a landscape seen by European settlement as one modified by Aboriginal fire regimes for thousands of years. With British settlement in 1788, Aboriginal fire regimes were suppressed and exotic grazes were introduced, creating scrub thickening, increased grasses, woody growth, and the closure of open forests. At present, eucalyptus forest fires are generally occurring every year. However, due to the varied and inconsistent fire history, management of short-term fires has become difficult. California. Similar to the history of New South Wales, lightning was a natural source of ignition prior to human settlement, in addition to volcanism and rock strikes. The arrival of Native Americans to the west coast 11,000 years ago saw the introduction of anthropogenic fire ignition. Californian Indians used fire to manage the landscape, reducing the wildfire risk in their villages, prevention of grasslands and meadows turning into forests and shrublands, stimulating growth of seeds, acorns, bulbs for food, and straight-tailed stems used for basket making, increased forage for game and to drive game, such as deer and rabbits. Native American burning ended due to the introduction of disease and warfare by Spanish missions during the late 18th and early 19th century. At this point, ranchers and shepherds used fire to keep grasslands open for grazing animals, and loggers used fire to clear the understory. At present, humans are the greatest wildfire ignition source in California, creating a history of grass and forest fires in the East Bay. Through equipment, arson, smoking, vehicles, power lines, and escaped campfires, fire has placed a direct threat to infrastructure. The modern American solution was to suppress wildfires, ignoring the Native American fire regime and allowing for natural ignitions. This has resulted in California having the highest fire suppression costs on the West USA coast. Ecology. New South Wales. The ecology of New South Wales is considered to be mallee, shrubby, scleromorph system. Of the many species known to be fire-resistant or fire-reliant, the banksia and eucalyptus, for example, the Tasmanian bluegum, are the two most well-known plants for releasing seeds into the environment that germinate through heat and fire. In this case, fire does not just shape the ecological community, but plays a role in biodiversity conservation, ecological connectivity, and ecosystem rejuvenation. California. On the other hand, the ecology of California is considered to be mainly chaparral, shrubby, scleromorph system. Evidence for fire adaptation is seen in Rhodea, which is Indian potatoes, which sprout after burning, oak trees which shoot at the base of branches are scorched, and MANZANITA, which has basal burial allowing for regeneration after fire. Additionally, chamise regenerates at the base, dropping seeds that lay dormant in the soil until fire triggers germination, a process known as serotonin. Both Indigenous Australians and Native Americans used frequent burning to create grasslands, as grass requires less time to reach maturity. However, this process in modern times can lead to the quick growth of exotic grazes such as cheatgrass. Furthermore, burning fields after harvest is shown to increase resistance to fire, yet on the other hand, wildfires are known to result in reduced wildlife. Eucalyptus is endemic to Australia, whereas at least 100 species invasively exist in California. The plant was introduced into California during the gold rush by Australians or Californians visiting from the Australian gold rush. Prior to the introduction of eucalyptus, the Californian landscape consisted of pine, oak, willows, sycamores, and scrub bush. The eucalyptus tree was introduced into California with the hope that it would provide industry post-gold rush, offering an alternative income, firewood, construction material, windbreakers, fuel, shade, medicine, lumber, nectar for bees, pulp for paper, and scenic beauty. At the end of the 19th century, the eucalyptus covered most of the landscape, filling ecological niches. Consequently, the trees produced a lot of slow decomposing material, including bark, leaves, branches, and seed pods, all containing highly flammable eucalyptus oil, which further slows the decomposition process and prevents the growth of native and historic plants. The Berkeley-OAKLAND Hills fire of 1991 burnt 3,000 homes and killed 24 people. Some blamed the eucalyptus for the fire, whereas others claimed it to be equally responsible compared to other plants. This creates an interesting debate between fire managers and conservationists, as some land managers plan to thin the number of eucalyptus trees on Mount Citron in an attempt to restore natural habitat and decrease the risk of wildfire, whereas ecologists consider the trees essential ecological components. In both cases, fire equals rejuvenation. Management. In the case of Mount Citron, land managers plan to reduce the risk of fire by removing stored oils and encourage the growth of native grasses, wildflowers, and brush through selective clearing of eucalyptus trees. Conservationists suggest that this will increase soil erosion and habitat destruction, as well as create space for fast-growing invasive grass species that are more flammable, further increasing the fire season from 6 months to 12 months. The idea of prescribed burning or backburning was introduced into California and New South Wales to reduce the threat of large wildfires and bushfires by removing the amount of ignitable material and fuel available to the fire. Using drip torches, the fuel accumulated from fire suppression is ignited based on vegetation, topography, and soil. Spot burning is done in Australia by addition of certain types of eucalyptus forests, allowing the fuels to burn off. The technique is also suggested for Southern California chaparral. However, USGS suggests that prescribed burning will have no effect on chaparral. Both New South Wales and California need long-term landscape management, which can be achieved through understanding of vegetation, fuel dynamics, nutrient balances, hydrology, and invasive species, creating process-based models. New South Wales fire management suggests that low-intensity, high-frequency fires can restore the landscape to the condition prior to European settlement, whereas Californian government considers the mixed conifer forest to be high priority for restoration, as changed fire regimes do not allow for low-intensity fires. Therefore, at first, it may seem like California and New South Wales have significantly different fire regimes. However, upon studying the history, ecology, and management, it becomes apparent that the two regions are quite similar.